instrument like that and beat somebody to death for $7. From what I gather is they must have, I don't know what happened, but people who I have talked to in the gay community have told me it sounds like gay bashing. It's like the next thing I know I'm living in a nightmare world. You know, it's like this is my honeymoon. My kids are here, it's Christmas time. We should have been back home. It's like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, why?
We got to get the message to lesbians and gays that violence is not a part of being gay or lesbian, that nobody has a right to put their hands on you and disrupt your life. That is the real evil part about what they do, is that they go to the gay community. I mean, and then they identify anybody in that community, okay? If they're alone, or if they're walking, or if they're happen to be with someone of the same gender, and then that's how the victims are picked. You know, there's no scientific process that goes on in the identifying of people. You know, like I said, they don't walk around Michigan or state and identify gay people. No, they'll go up north, where they believe that that's where all the gay community lives, and that's where they go in and do their dirt against people. And that's what I think is really evil and really heartless. You know, I mean, these are people who are going about their lives. I mean, you know, going about their lives.
I mean, you think about it, there's so many people in this world who have responded to their own oppression, by straight society, saying, oh, you know, yeah, I have a hard time acknowledging that I'm queer. Or by saying, you know, oh, that's okay, it's not that big of a deal, I'm actually fine being closeted, which is the worst type of self-hatred, to get to the point where you believe that you're actually not that oppressed because you have internalized it to such a level that you really can't even point out how you're that oppressed.
I think that gay people who are closeted are doing a lot of damage to the gay community. I really strongly feel that they should come out of the closet because basically they're going along with what heterosexual society, a great deal of it, wants to believe, that it's something that should be hidden. And so if it's something that should be hidden, it is something really bad. And if something really bad, well, then it gives you license to attack those people. I remember when I was a teenager in the 60s reading a Life magazine article about the homosexuals are, you know, it was before Stonewall, but they were starting to sort of write articles about gay people coming out. I don't think they call it coming out yet. And I remember there was one article in Look magazine or Life, there's a photograph of these three guys who had formed something called, I believe, like the Lavender Panthers or the Pink Panthers, something kind of funny like that. So it must have been around the time of the Black Panthers. And they basically, their whole thing was to arm themselves. And it made me think about the subject because I was always being harassed at school, etc., even back then. And I really liked it.
Real quick, these are the vulnerable places on another human being's body. Also, you can box the ears, which makes them deaf. I mean, take the heel of your hand up underneath the nose or up underneath the chin. They'll fall backwards. Point your fingers right to the middle of the throat. You can hit right through the esophagus. Oh. Right there. Kick to the knees. Take it outside of your foot, down to the top of the foot. You can break all the bones in the top of their foot. Elbow to the solar plexus. The eyes. They're very vulnerable, and it's one hit, and you can get away.
Hey, well, my name is Hollywood. Stands for Hollywood, stage name. I have a title. I had been bashed in August of '90, and from that point I was kind of like enraged, and this came in October, so it was a timely thing. There's been a lot of different bashings going on in the community and stuff, so when it came along, I hopped on the bandwagon to patrol the streets.
Angels are the best thing that came my way as far as being a first-time activist is concerned.
Your code name?
Is Ripley. That character from Aliens that Sigourney Weaver plays. She just seemed pretty tough, so.
My name is Aurora, and I'm a member of the Pink Angels, Chicago. It's my angel name, and it came to me in an angelic activation about 7 months ago. But that's another story. This seemed like the next wave to hit the streets and take them back for the gay and lesbian community and make them safe for democracy.
My code name is Terminator. I chose that because I thought it was appropriate since I want to help terminate the violence on the street. I got involved back in October when the group started. Saw some advertisements in the Gay Chicago newspaper, and since I was feeling a lot of frustration from the homophobia I saw in the streets, which I couldn't do much about, I decided this was a perfect outlet to use some of my energy.
Codename's Bruiser.
Bruiser, and how'd you get it?
How'd I get it? I had a real dumb one before, and people threw ideas around and it got us stuck.
I'm Spike. I'm the president of the Pink Angels. I got involved in the middle of October. I just moved to Chicago in September and was looking for something to do in the gay and lesbian community. This is not just a group to protect lesbians and gays and bisexuals. We're not going to stop a crime and ask, excuse me, what's your sexual orientation before we step in.
I mean, if you realize what we're doing here, I mean, the men and women really have a lot of courage to go out on the streets and do things like setting limits with the world at large, no longer falling victims of the hate and ignorance that goes on. And this here is our opportunity to no longer tolerate that and say, you know, we are people that are here, we're peaceful, but you pushed us to no other point to take care of ourselves. And this is what this is about. It's one of the most exciting things that's happened in my life, in my whole life.
We want bashers to know that not all gay and lesbian people are limp-wristed people who are going to run and hide or who are going to cower and back down. That we take this seriously. We allow absolutely no weapons whatsoever. We carry whistles, we carry flashlights, and we have each other. There's been a lot of change in all of us, and we are much more empowered, and we are much more courageous, I think, than we thought we could be. I think people in the general community see us, and they're like, well, if they can do that, so can I. You know, if they can say, no, you can't do this to me, so can I.
This patrol is headed eastbound on Newport to Halsted Street. We are turning and heading northbound on Halsted Street towards Cornelia. You copy?
Statistics say that most bashers don't live in the area. They will come to another area in order to beat people up. They come here looking for trouble. You know, they're intending to do something in this area. They're intending to cause some crime or to hurt somebody. Statistically, a gay basher physically is a young man, usually late teens, early 20s. I mean, they're usually sexist, racist, and homophobic. And, you know, anything that is not within their reality is wrong. So it's sad because now the more and more we're learning about hate crimes, the sticks are getting wider and wider. It's, people of all, ages and people of all ethnicities and all different classes are becoming gay bashers.
Please repeat. Formation is partners of two, so no matter what happens, I always know that I've got my partner here, and I'm accountable basically for life, and I know that she's watching mine.
My friends are scared for me, my mother's terrified for me, and when I go out, I get scared too. But if you're not scared, then you're not paying attention. We were trained by the Chicago Guardian Angels, and most of that was how to operate as a patrol, how to use the radios, how to communicate with one another, things like that. We want to continue the relationship. They're learning a lot from us as far as dealing with people, and we're learning a lot from them as far as working as a patrol.
You know how to do a high five?
Yeah.
You know how gay people do it?
Come on.
What is that? High five. Okay, high five.
The first weekend we were on patrol, the first night nothing happened, everything was fine. The second night we had 3 incidents in 15 minutes. You know, attempted sexual assault of 2 young teenagers, a man being beaten in an alley by a gang of people, and a gang fight, all at one time. And we were lucky in that there were 2 patrols out that night. Some of the Guardian Angels from Chicago were with us, so there were a lot of us out there because the patrol did get split in 3 different directions. So that event really pulled us together, and you know, that's the baseball night for us, because the first time we ever heard or saw someone being beaten up with baseball bats before. And it's happened again and again since then. But that was a very shocking thing for us. It was a real, you know, eye-opener that this is actually happening where we live.
Who was killed in a homosexual attack 15 years.
Ho, ho! Homophobia's got to go! Hey! Your personal rights, your personal...
Everybody is against hate crimes, gay bashing.
As long as I'm the police chief here, I'm not going to stand for it.
Need your help!
Hi everybody, my name is Jeffrey Elliott. I'm a citizen of Chicago and I'm an out gay man. Back.
What's going on now? What's going on now is a rise in hate crime. Hate crime is based in prejudice, bias, racism, sexism, and homophobia. Gays and lesbians are not the only people being targeted by hate crime, but we certainly get the brunt of it. We, like many other marginalized groups, are sick and tired of it. We're standing up for our civil rights. We've created a movement, and that's where we are now. There's a system. You can look at the statistics, and you can see where hate crime comes from. It comes from people's anxiety and their fear of not knowing other cultures. They don't know people, so they fear them. Look at Japan bashing nationwide. It's even condoned by our federal government. Look at our judicial system. They condone the mistreatment of African Americans. Look at the Chicago police. As proactive as they'd like to be, they are nowhere near where they need to be. Until we have people like Commander Burge removed from duty because he is torturing black Americans, until we get homophobic cops off the street, the police are not doing enough. We're talking about systemic violence here. We're not talking about just the violence that we incur every day as gays, lesbians, and bisexuals. We're talking about society's attitudes. And we're here, we're queer, and we're mad as hell.
No birds! No KKK, no fascist USA! No birds! No KKK, no fascist USA!
The Coalition Against Bashing, which is the group that I represent, holds these types of marches. We are an outgrowth of a project that ACT UP Chicago created in 1990. In 1991, Queer Nation sponsored our project. Now we're a full-fledged anti-violence project. We operate a 24-hour hotline. We have regular monthly meetings. We network. We sit on various community advisory boards. We're working, and all volunteer.
Right, and I think you got the flyers that we sent to you. Okay, well, we're hoping that you can get involved. You can either attend or perhaps cover it or tell your friends about it. Obviously, it's an important issue, and the media is going to, I think the media is going to really register the message when they see hundreds and hundreds of people taking the streets. So I'm at a volunteer phone bank tonight calling, you know, about 200 people to remind them about it. So, right, and we're providing, you know, food and water and literature and leaflets and ways for people to get organized. So again, we just hope that you can get there and bring some friends.
My first response is to get the right information out to as many people as possible. The second thing that I do is to actually call the television stations and the radio stations that I have a relationship with, that I've worked with in the past, that I know firsthand,
try to do the best absolute job covering gay and lesbian and bisexual hate crimes. We're putting information out that people can get and people can be real about and they can make adult, informed decisions about. Sure, it's scary. It's hard. Knowing that every day when you walk outside your door, somebody could shoot you is scary. What's happening in print, what's happening in the news, what's happening on your street, in your neighborhood, is real. Don't be afraid of it. Confront it.
If you commit a crime based on hate of lesbians and gays, or people by their race or creed or religion in this county, you are going to be prosecuted.
I started in July 1990, and as of January 1st, 1991, the new, what is now called Hate Crimes Act, became active. It started out, it used to be called the Ethnic Intimidation Act, and did not include sexual orientation or handicap, and I think a couple other classes. And so when it was revised and things were added, like sexual orientation, handicap, and things, it was changed to hate crime, which is what we commonly call it today. Basically, the hate crime law states that because of somebody's sexual orientation, class, race, religion, handicap, a certain crime was committed, and that crime can be a number of quote-unquote violent crimes against a person. It is a misdemeanor on the first time you're found guilty of it, or first time you're charged. Once you've been found guilty and that it's something that remains on your record, the next instance of the crime is considered a felony. So some parts of the law are excellent. Actually, the entire law is excellent. The interpretation is still being worked on. As a court advocate, primarily my job is to be the one person in the courtroom whose only concern is the survivor. Most people, especially survivors of hate crime, have never been to court in their life. People are very intimidated by what court means and what the court system is all about. So I explain to them ahead of time exactly what will happen and what their options are. In some ways, I'm sort of a watchdog. I think it's helpful when I'm there that the state's attorneys know who I am, and they know that I work for an office that will call them on mistakes that they make or inappropriate behavior that they have. The case today involves there's two parts to the whole story. One is that there was a 14-year-old boy who's been harassed with two men, calling them pegs. The child was actually arrested for the breaking of the window, of the rear mirror, taken to the police station and given what's commonly known as a J number for a juvenile's first time minor offense. They say that was naughty and send him home. What happened the next day after Michael had been arrested was that his father met Sam as Sam was coming into his house after work, approached him at his stoop and said to him, you know, I want to talk to you. And Sam said, I have nothing to talk to you about. And this man, Sam noticed that he believed the man had a gun in his pocket of the coat he was wearing, or sweatsuit. And he, at that point, the father said to Sam, he said, if you don't stop fucking with my kid, I'm going to fuck you up. Which in law is a threat, but not a threat of immediate battery. And the way the law is read is that an assault is when someone makes a threat to commit an immediate battery, or in other words, hurt you right then and there, which is not exactly what he said.
This was clearly a threat when someone comes up to you with the gun in their pocket and tells you, I'm gonna fuck you up. And the legal system, you know, I mean, this is what gets to me. The legal system says, he said the word gonna, as if I'm gonna fuck you up in the future. I don't care if he did say gonna as in the future. The threat was real. The threat was then, and I think it's a fucking shame, excuse my French, that these people were able to walk out of here and nothing happened to them.
Apparently, I guess they had a housewarming party, so there were obviously several gay men, probably a lot of gay men coming to their house to visit them, and their neighbors apparently didn't like this or decided this was certainly, you know, good proof that they were gay.
And more incidences began happening after that. The harassment became more constant, more troublesome. Things like in the summertime, he would walk by their door, which was the common pathway from his apartment to the street, and yell in their open screen window, fags, you know, fags should die, mutter things under his breath like, if I had a gun, I would come and shoot you all.
Yes, so we have a stack of police reports this thick on that family. Nothing has been done about this. And it's continuing now. I know sooner than we get home, you watch and see.
And he was very distraught. They had tried, as he, you know, explains, to talk to the parents, to talk to everybody. I mean, they tried the police. They tried several other things that didn't work. So they were ready to go ahead and try the legal system.
This is where, in the summertime, we used to have our grill around the tree, picnic together all around here, play volleyball, everything. That's him over there with his dog. I wouldn't film it though, but this is where we would picnic. And then all of a sudden, all hell